right. Well, Jonathan, walk me through a new client's process when first engaging with 3F Captive Services.
Sure. So the process for us when we get a client who's interested, we've usually had at least one or two conversations where they've sort of indicated that they're interested in exploring or maybe even moving forward with setting up their captive insurance company. So once a client or a potential client has demonstrated interest, we essentially collect preliminary financial data on them and information on them, what their business looks like, their corporate structure, et cetera. And then we'll also get information on their current insurance policies and if they've had any previous claims or losses in their operational history. Once we collect that information, we'll hop on a call with them and we'll kind of walk through what their needs are, what they're looking for. Are there any sort of insurance coverages that they're not getting through their traditional commercial carriers? And once we sort of discuss that, what their current situation is and what they might be looking for, we conduct what's called a feasibility study and actuarial analysis on what might be appropriate for their business. And we run a full report on what it might look like to set up the program. And then if they're still interested in moving forward, then we do the captive formation. So basically, there's like a few steps, and at each step along the process, the client can make a decision whether to move forward or not.
And what makes 3F Captive Services approach to captive insurance unique compared to other providers?
So I think what makes us unique is that we're not a sort of one size fits all approach. There's various elections that you can make in different structures, to set up your own captive insurance company. What's more commonly known is what's called a 831A or an 831B election. Those are easily searchable terms online, and a lot of folks who've done preliminary research on it kind of understand those elections. And so we can offer both of those elections. There's also another election for what we would call even micro captives below the 831 sort of limits. So most other providers are sort of one size fits all. They kind of do one election. They take one approach to setting up their clients' captives. We offer several different structures in contrast to most folks in the business.
And what are the key factors that a new client should consider before setting up a captive insurance company with 3F?
Yeah, so the primary factors to consider before setting up a captive is just looking at business risk and what you currently have insurance for. So the first question you might ask is, does my business have risks that are not currently insured by my traditional commercial carriers, or do I have risks that aren't covered in the traditional insurance market? The second question is just understanding, is my business large enough to cover the fixed and ongoing costs of setting up and operating a captive? So there's upfront work that goes into it, and then there's annual work that goes into maintaining the captive. So those are the primary questions as sort of and key factors to consider.
And how does 3F Captive Services tailor its services to meet the needs of each individual client?
Yeah, again, a lot of this work is done up front when we sort of do ask the preliminary questions and get a preliminary indication of interest from the client. What we do is, as we analyze their business, we'll sort of, again, we'll conduct a feasibility study and the actuarial work to kind of craft the program to suit their individual needs. But I think just as important as that is this is done annually. So it's not once we set up their captive insurance and we set up the policies, we do a reevaluation annually. So we're always sort of fine tuning what products and what insurable risks that we're covering each year. So again, each business is evaluated on an annual basis, and we sort of reevaluate the company's needs.
Will you explain any regulatory compliance issues that clients should be aware of and how 3F assists in navigating these?
So there's sort of a couple main buckets for compliance. One is regulatory compliance with the state insurance regulator, and then there's compliance with the IRS and IRS sort of tax filings and things like that. So our captive structure and what we do for clients, we're covered and regulated by the Tennessee Department of Commerce and Insurance. So associated with that, there's annual filings every year, things of that nature, which we handle. And then to meet the IRS requirements, you have to do an audit every year, and then as well as doing sort of the annual tax filings. And those are sort of the two main buckets that sort of impact captive insurance businesses or captive insurance companies. And those are the things that we handle.
With your co-founder Patrick Johnston's background in ag, does 3F Captive Services have specialized expertise in the agricultural industry or any other specific sectors?
Yeah, no, that's great. So, co-founder Patrick Johnson, he's spent basically his entire career in agriculture. He's managed and run a dairy, and he also owns a couple farms where he farms tree nuts. So he has deep agricultural experience in various different areas. So, we're very excited about some of the insurance products that we're structuring. So for dairies, there's insurable risk that's not covered by commercial carriers, which certain livestock death and things like that. And then the other product that we're very excited about is crafting and structuring supplemental crop insurance above and beyond the federally subsidized limits. And that's an area where especially Patrick has a lot of expertise. And then other business sectors, again, sort of any sort of small or mid-sized business, whether it's agriculture or other service providers, that can be suitable for. We've gotten a lot of interest from doctors' offices. It's really just crafting what the policies that are appropriate for each individual company's insurable risks. But the structure can be applied to many different industries, not just agriculture.
And then for you personally, is there pride or excitement in joining innovative and evolving field and then bringing this company to life?
Yeah, no, it's been great. I think I've spent my career in financial services. I've seen a lot of different financial products. The one thing I love about captive insurance is that it really allows businesses to manage their risks in a tailored fashion. And so they can get coverages for risks that may not be insurable in the traditional market. And there's also a lot of tax advantages for small businesses. I've seen a lot of different businesses and types of industries across my career. And this is like one of the best, probably the best finance and insurance product that I've seen for small and mid-sized businesses in my entire career.